Good afternoon. Welcome to our Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge Tech Talk, where we will be hearing about the Association of Marine Corps Logisticians Symposium that will be held here locally in August. But first, we're going to do some introductions from the MATB side and 757 CoLab. We ask as we go through this presentation, if you have any questions, to put them into the chat. And we'll get to those. We've saved time at the end of the presentation to take any questions that you have. Again, welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gerald Walker to introduce the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge.
Welcome everyone, and thanks for participating in this Tech Talk. The Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge is a consortium of three different commands, the NIWC Atlantic, NSWC Carderock, and NSWC Dahlgren, that operates under the ONR Naval X Accelerator Program Office. And our main mission is to be the super connector of innovative organizations and solutions to big Navy problems and DoD problems. We're part of what we do is once we identify interesting activities and innovations, we like to share them with the community, and we do that primarily through our Tech Talks. Before I turn it over to our PA partner 757 CoLab, I do want to take a little bit of time to plug this Tech Talk we're having today about the Association of Marine Corps Logisticians Symposium. The Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge attended last year's symposium, and I gotta say, it was fantastic. I mean, it was such an impactful and well-run event that it stood out amongst the events that we attend. And the fact that it is local and it is hosted at the Christopher Newport University, which did a fantastic job of hosting the event, and the way it was organized, the participants, the information that was put out. It was really, really great. So I just wanted to put my plug in for this symposium. It is fantastic. And I'll turn it over to 757.
Hi, my name is Eileen Brewer, and I am the Executive Director for 757 Accelerate, which is a 12-week acceleration program for startups. But what I'd like to share with you today is 757 CoLab. CoLab is the umbrella nonprofit that provides three different resources into the startup ecosystem here in Virginia. The first resource we offer is 757 Startup Studios. This is a physical space in downtown Norfolk in the Assembly Building, where we provide early stage startups a place to come and work and meet other startups. 6 months free co-working space, plus free mentorship, plus weekly trainers and presenters to help you go through the customer discovery process, ideation, and get to your MVP, all at no cost. That has applications open year-round, and then we bring in new cohorts twice a year. We have a new cohort of 30 startups joining us in July. The next offer that we have is the 757 Accelerate. This is an extensive 12-week acceleration program for startups who have at least an MVP. Preferably, they have a few customers and some revenue. They have at least one full-time founder working on the business, and they're ready to grow and scale exponentially. At the end of those 12 weeks, we take them on an investor roadshow, and we have them pitching directly to investors in the region. We have applications open for that program right now. Applications will close on May 24. If you just go search on any of our social media or on F6S, you can find our application and do the application process. The third resource that we offer in the community is 757 Angels Group. This is 140 persons who are doing individual investments with a focus on Virginia-based startups. They meet 3 times per year and do investing 3 times per year. They'll go dark for the summer, but they'll have applications open in the fall for their fall round. And they usually invest in between 3 to 5 different startups each time they do their investment round, which is currently tracking at 3 times per year. They will on June 15 become a chapter of Venture South, which is a much larger angel organization across multiple states. So they'll have further access into more startups and more investors. If you're already have a round open and you're looking for investment, then you can go to 757angels.com and look at their requirements and their application windows. All three of these resources have their own websites, their own applications, their own criteria and due dates. You do not have to participate in one to get into the other. You can jump into our ecosystem wherever you are and whatever stage your startup is based at. And I'll close with letting you know that I am interviewing now for program managers. If you know of anyone who would like to be a program manager working in this space and helping startups and work in the downtown Norfolk Assembly Building, please get a hold of me. You can find me on LinkedIn or you can chat and I will give you my email address in chat so that we can hire some great program managers to support us. Thank you.
All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Greg Lewis, the symposium chairman for the Association of Marine Corps Logisticians. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tina, and Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge team. It's an honor to be here. Glad to be here with the home team in the Hampton Roads region. And a little bit of my background, I'm a retired Marine logistician. Actually went through logistics school at Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek, Fort Story, circa 1997. So life brought me around to retire out of Fort Story. And I see my colleague there, Rob Cranston on the line, also went through that schoolhouse. Rob is one of the original founders of the Association of Marine Corps Logisticians. And I'll let him talk a little bit more about the background of that organization, what we stand for. But we're here today to talk about the Association of Marine Corps Logisticians Symposium. I call it AMCL sometimes. We're excited to have it here in the Hampton Roads region just because it's such a dynamic region. We've got the world's largest naval base. Marine Forces Command is here. We've got the Army's Fort Eustis, Langley Air Force Base Up Road Joint Base, Langley Eustis, Navy Expeditionary Combat Command, Military SEALs Command. NATO has an innovation hub here as well. So we've got that. We've got Coast Guard, the Coast Guard School up the road at Jamestown. So we're excited to host this here. We know there's a lot of great innovation organizations around the country and around the world. Defense Innovation Unit, National Security Innovation Network, and we'll talk about how we kind of tie into those. But I'd like to push this over to Rob Cranston for a section, if he'd like to introduce himself, and then we'll go into this brief.
Hey guys, good to be here today. Thanks so much, as Greg mentioned, for having us. This is what an awesome platform. I mean, I think this is out of that I've heard of this particular type of platform for a podcast and really pushing out information across the region is really unique and I think one of a kind. I am so excited about once again having the AMCL Symposium with our team and Greg and Scott and the team that they run in terms of the symposium logistics. Is just phenomenal. We're partnered with Event Power, who have been just a fantastic partner in helping us shape the AMCL platform of speakers, and then as well as partners and whatnot. And we were excited to see Gerald and the team there last year, and excited to see him again this year. It's funny. So AMCL has been this platform. We started back, it was our fourth year, a 501c3, and our intent was to build it off of pillars of academic and really institutional information that could go from warfighter to industry and back and forth. And we did that in 5 different pillars, building association out, and that was under professional education, mentorship, innovative thinking and platforms, all of those new type of technologies that are being baked and built in industry, and then vice versa, being employed by warfighters. Open communication, really important for us to communicate across the platform on how we are looking at different types of logistics configurations, not just within DoD, but outside of DoD, and how industries are baked into the broader brushstroke of industrial base partnership and teaming, and trust and unity. So those are the 5. We've got members across active duty, reserve, retired. We've got civilian industry. So really a cool place for us to really incubate and create that space. Be it known that really the Marine Corps logistician base and supply chain, warehousing, analysts really never had a platform of their own, and so that's why we created it. And again, it's much broader than just the Marine Corps. So it's been really fun to be part of regional type of growth and plans like the Naval Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge and then with 757 collab, as Aaron mentioned, fantastic program. So those out in the audience, by all means, please, this is so critical and important as we move forward in understanding and building new technology sets. So back over to you, Greg, and further info on the symposium.
And I'll just highlight here on the front slide here, we are partnered with the Christopher Newport University Center for American Studies, and I've got Dr. Nathan Bush on the line, and we'll go to his slide decks here later on in the brief. Dr. Bush and his wife actually co-direct the center there, and they graciously hosted us last year for our first in-person symposium, and we'll talk a little bit about that during the brief. And then this year's symposium, I'd like to highlight there, you can read the screen, obviously. The theme this year is Operation JUMPSTART, from aspirational to operational. The idea being there's a lot of great ideas out there. We've all seen the OV1s, the Operational Vision 1s. We've got the Expeditionary Advanced Space Operations that the Marine Corps is working on, and other distributed maritime operations and other concepts that are out there as we look to the future and how we're going to involve the Marine Corps and the Joint Force in general. So the focus is some of those things can be kind of aspirational, and it takes individuals and organizations to move those from aspirational to aspirational, and that's operational, to bring those technologies in, experimenting with those technologies, educating our force to be able to interact with those technologies, and then figuring out how we're going to employ them into those concepts and make them actually work. So our symposium is going to be looking at various different aspects of that, which we'll dive into, kind of across the MLPS spectrum, doctrine, organization. I know you just threw a big acronym at you all, but looking to cover the span of logistics. The Commandant, General Berger, Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Berger, has stated that, so on several occasions, that logistics is the warfighting function, and we certainly agree with that here. And we are excited to talk more about that. There's some logistics publications that have come out recently, Marine Corps Doctrinal Pub 4, and the new document for installation of logistics that we'll be discussing during the symposium and so forth. We also see logistics as sort of the quintessential dual-use warfighting function. So it's our relationship with industry and public-private partnerships and so forth. And we're seeing this in Ukraine, where you've got dual-use technologies making their way onto the battlefield, whether that's drones or the artificial intelligence to run those drones. Dual-use technologies are very important. So we talked about a lot of that during the symposium. And we do have our logisticians. Last year, we had several from around the globe participate, either remotely or in person. We're going to have that again this year. So, and it's not just the Marine logisticians. We've brought in folks from around the region here. Obviously, all the services are here in the Hampton Roads area. Folks from Army Watercraft, military seamen from the Navy, and so forth participate, and other folks from around the defense innovation ecosystem. We can go next slide. So I'll just dive into that. Here's the sort of our overall theme of the symposium. We are going to be at, again, Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia, August 8th through 10, 2023. So those are the key dates. And we will pop up the website for those that aren't tracking it already. If you're in industry or in government and so forth, give you an opportunity to link in there and connect and register and so forth. And Here's the topics that we'll be diving into. Obviously, we'll be looking at technology. We are going to have a vendor pool there. We'll have Naval Surface Warfare Centers, as the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge pointed out, from Carter Rock, from Naval Information Warfare Center Atlantic, where Gerald's a part of. That we'll have those folks represented there. We're also looking to bring in folks from the Marine Corps Warfighting Laboratory up in Quantico, the Marine Corps Innovation Unit, which just stood up in New York State. We're looking to get some representatives from there. We're also looking to bring in folks from the Air Force and other organizations that are involved in emerging technology. We talk about digital transformation. Rob mentioned warehousing, distribution network, digitization, data are so important. And I know having attended another conference up at CNU, which the National Defense Transportation Association last year, there was not a single briefer, and granted, we're looking at big trains and planes and auto and so forth and ships. Every single brief talked about digital, talked about data, and that is so crucial. And the other crucial part, obviously, is energy, which we'll talk down there later. Talent management, how we're managing our Marines and sailors and building those career paths and educating our force. We'll have the Marine Corps Logistics Operations Group, looking to have them out here, looking to get Naval Postgraduate School out here, and other organizations within the training and education continuum. Leadership and professional development. This is a great opportunity for Marines to get in front of senior leaders and also talk with folks at like from the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge, folks who are specialists in their fields, whether that's information warfare or scientists from the different naval warfare centers, Office of Naval Research and so forth, but also get a chance to talk with industry. And we'll have a lot of CEOs and so forth here. We've got some great vendors lined up. So this is a great opportunity to have that. Looking to build our innovation culture and mindset, we will have an innovation panel, and we're looking at looking at how Marines are fighting across the so-called Valley of Death. We're going to look at some success stories there and how industries have different vendors and so forth have gone through that, how government has helped get through that. We're going to talk about public-private partnerships. This is a great opportunity just to bring government and industry together and encourage collaboration there. We are going to be having some sort of industry matchmaking events. We've scheduled those. That's not the overall focus of this event, but we're looking to have some matchmaking events where we get industry vendors in front of different government reps and just give an opportunity for folks to do their 5-minute pitch and have an opportunity to present to government. We are going to be talking about Marine Corps force design. Those Marines on the line are very familiar with that. For those that don't, Marine Corps is reshaping for 2030. It is a significant effort. And again, Commandant has said that logistics is the pacing function. So critical to this overall force design is how are we going to sustain that? How are we going to sustain all these autonomous systems? How are we going to operate over these huge maritime terrain and so forth? And then we've got an energy and installations panel. We're going to be talking about operational energy, which is that energy that tactical units use. And then we're going to be talking about installation energy, which I think those lines are blurring, which is great because we see installations that are inside the weapons engagement zone as warfighting entities. So we're going to be talking about that. It's not just a home base. And I think as we look at the great power competition construct, there's kind of no safe spaces. And so we want to be thinking about the energy required to meet our installations. How can we get our installations more energy independent? How can we have our Marine operational units more energy independent off of that fossil fuel tether? So really looking forward to that panel. We are going to have some joint logisticians. We've got Military SEAL Command coming out. Navy Expeditionary Combat Command has been invited. We'd like to get Defense Logistics Agency and the Army Surface Deployment Distribution Command. We're looking to get speakers from there. We've got a couple of them already interested. Last year we had Lieutenant General Sullivan, who's the deputy at U.S. Transportation Command, came and spoke as a great keynote. So we're looking to we'll have other speakers from across the joint enterprise. And then down there's at the end, there's a cooperative logistics with our allies and partners. We've got another part of Force Design 2030. In addition to logistics, you'll see the mention of allies and partners. And that is significant, whether that's operating with allies and partners at the tactical level or at the operational level, doing operational level logistics. We had Colonel Joseph Garreau last year from who's at the NATO headquarters in Poland. He gave a great presentation on how NATO works, NATO logistics. So we're looking to get more conversations like that going. And also the Naval there are tech bridges in both London and Japan. And so there's innovation happening with the allies and partners. And there's several great examples of that with the other services as well. So we welcome logisticians from across industry, from across the military, and of course our friends and partners in other countries. So hopefully we can get some folks from NATO out here. So we've got quite a few folks, partner nation logisticians here. If we can go to the next slide. So here's a couple speakers we've got lined up. We have others, but we're very excited. We've got Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears from Virginia, who we've invited. We're working with her staff to get her to come speak. For those of you not familiar with the Lieutenant Governor, she was a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, so she still is a Marine. But a phenomenal speaker and very excited to represent our home state or Commonwealth of Virginia. So it'll be great to have her here. And then we've got Major General Craig Crenshaw, who's the Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Major Crenshaw was, I can't say it was because once Marine, always Marine, was a Marine logistician. And so we're excited to have General Crenshaw come to speak as well. If we can go on to the next. And I would like to take this time to pass it over to our gracious co-host, Dr. Nathan Bush, to talk through how our symposium sits within their national security conference series. Over to you, Dr. Bush.
Hello, everyone. As Greg mentioned, we are pleased to be partnering with AMCL with the logistics conference. But I want to take just a moment to talk a little bit about how this fits in with some of the national security programming that the Center for American Studies has been hosting for many years now. So the Center for American Studies actually just celebrated its 15-year anniversary, and it serves a mission for the university and the Commonwealth and the country to support teaching and research about America's founding principles, America's economic system, and national security. And as part of this programming, we host actually a national security conference series that includes 3 separate conferences, the most recent edition of which is the logistics conference that I guess we're talking about today. But we actually partner, Greg mentioned the conference that we host with the National Defense Transportation Association called the Surface Force Projection Conference. It's actually taking place next week. I'll talk about that in just a second, a little bit more. Of course, we also host the August logistics conference with AMCL, and then we also host a Homeland Security Symposium and Expo, which we co-host with HII, the company formerly known as Huntington Ingalls Industries, but now as marketing itself or going by HII simply. If you could go to the next slide very quickly. So here's the some information on next week's Surface Force Projection Conference. I should mention there is time still to register for it, but we have quite a an impressive lineup of speakers coming. So if you're interested in the conference, it looks like it's clipped off at the little bit of bottom of the slide perhaps, but go to the NDTA website and you can log on and register for the conference. Next slide, if you could, please. All right, obviously, we've been talking about the logistics conference last year, as Greg noted and Rob noted, really impressive set of speakers. And so we're really excited to be partnering with AMCL again for the conference this coming August. Next slide, please. And finally, this is actually the longest running of our conferences, but since 2010, we have been hosting the annual Homeland Security Symposium and Expo. Last February's conference, we were really pleased with. We were able to bring Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, to come speak, as well as the director of operations for Fleet Forces, for maritime operations for Fleet Forces Command, and a whole host of other speakers. So, for those who aren't familiar with the National Security Conference Series hosted by the Center, we're really pleased with where it's come. We're really proud to be partnering with such organizations as NDTA or AMCL or HII, and encourage you to reach out and maybe find a little bit more about this conference series. All right, I think that's it for me. So back to Greg and Rob.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Bush. We're looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing you next week for the NDTA conference. For the Marines out there, this is I want to put the AMCL Awards program on your radar. The vision here is that we're going to be looking at members that are forward-looking within the Marine Corps. We know we've got the Marine Corps Association puts out logistics awards, and those awards are largely based on past performance and saluting those Marines who've done great work over the course of a year, Marines and Marine organizations. The differentiator with our awards is we're looking at Marines that are looking forward, bringing in innovative ideas and so forth. So be standing by. There is going to be a Marine Corps, it's called a MAR admin, that will be out on the street here by the end of the month, and that will have more information on both the conference but also on the awards process. And we're glad to take questions with that later when you get to the end of this brief. Here are some of the awards that we've got that we'll be taking a look at. We've got an individual applicant, we've got a log tank, sort of a Shark Tank version of Marine Corps Logisticians, looking at different ideas that are coming up from the ranks at the grassroots. We've got an individual applicant with an essay on future logistics. I know there's a lot of great writing out there already in the Marine Corps Gazette, in Center for Maritime Security, and in other publications, proceedings, and so forth. So we're given another opportunity for individuals to write. Then we got looking at some of the wicked problems out there, an opportunity for an individual to write on that, and some of their solutions that they've got for some of the intense wicked problems out there for contested logistics. And then we've got basically a future fiction, useful fiction sort of approach to imagining what some solutions could look like in the 2060 timeframe, looking at things like artificial intelligence, where we're going to be in 2060, which is kind of an exciting way to look at it, but taking essays and submissions there for anybody that has that creative writing skill set. And then looking at partnerships with industry, examples where Marines and Marine organizations have partnered with an industry partner to come up with some sort of new approach to conducting logistics. And then this would be a nomination at the bottom. There's the nomination for the Lifetime Achievement Award. So we'll be looking at individuals that would be up for that. We got the award submission timeline up there. No later than 25 May, we'll have the MAR admin posted. And then 30 June, we'll have the award submission. So you've got some time to start cranking those out. And those are individual efforts out there. So, but if there's Marine Corps leadership that has a Marine that you'd like to put in for it, you know, we by all means we take those submissions. Or if you want to submit yourself, that's well soon. And then we're going to be having our awards ceremony during the symposium. There's some additional. Our website is up there, which will have additional information on the awards. You can check with that on 21 May. Our website is actually live. We will not have any awards information until that date there in the future. So, but we'd be glad to have you visit our site there, which is different from the AMCL Symposium website. But there is a link to the AMCL Symposium website through that Marine Corps AMCL website as well. So I welcome you to both of those. If you can click to the. And I'd like to talk briefly about some of our other connections, which other organizations that we've worked with. We mentioned Christopher Newport University, NavalX, obviously, our gracious hosts here, and they will be looking to have them on a panel and also have a booth. We are partnered with the Logistics Officers Association, which is the Air Force's logistics organization. They've been in operation for 40 years, have fantastic events. And they were tremendously helpful in helping us get started, getting our symposium started. So we are glad to be a part of them. The LOA president is actually up the road. His name is Colonel Kalin. He is up the road at Langley Air Force Base. So we're looking for them. And he was a great speaker during our symposium last year. So we're looking forward to having them back. We've got the National Defense Industrial Association. Has been great partners with us, Mr. Kevin Samples. They do some great events there with their logistics arm. And so we are glad to be linked in with NDIA, NDTA, and these other organizations. Then we've got the Women in Defense Logistics, another phenomenal organization. And then the NDTA, which Dr. Bush mentioned, is they're doing symposium next week. They also do a tremendous symposium in the fall out with U.S. Transportation Command. The Defense Entrepreneur Forum is another great group. I'm actually part of that group here, the DEF 757. But we've got a great group there. We had Ms. Trish Martinelli came out and spoke, and she was also part of the National Security Innovation Network down there at the bottom, and came and spoke and was part of our innovation panels. And we're looking forward to having further interaction with those groups here this year. So without any further ado, I think I'll turn it over if there's any questions, and we'd be glad to. I think we have a couple questions in the chat, and I can open that up, whether it's myself or
I'll ask you.
or Gerald. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know when the AMCLS agenda on the webpage will be populated?
We'll be populating that as we have speakers confirmed and so forth. So that will be. We do have a working agenda that's on there right now. We're in the process, but that'll be updated over the next couple months. So we're looking to I'll say we're looking to adjust the way we did it from last year. So last year we were the symposium met during the fall semester at CNU, and we were looking to bring students in, which we did. We had some great student participation in our audience, and so we kind of ran on the 1 hour schedule. So we'd have 50 minutes that we get the students in. Since this year will be during August, we're switching it up a little bit. The format is going to be we're going to open up with a keynote for probably about a half hour or so. So looking to get a keynote speaker, and then we'll jump into a panel, which will be probably about 90 minutes. So it'll give time for more discussion. Sometimes those panels get rushed if they're under 50 minutes, and so we're looking to give about 80 to 90 minutes for those panels to go, and probably the keynote will end up jumping on that panel and ending it. So we will get that out. We do have some speakers confirmed, so we'll start populating that as well, so you can track those, and we'll get those themes out there. But that just if you look back early in the brief, those are the general themes that we'll be looking at. And so we'll have panels and keynotes along those lines.
That's all we have so far.
Okay.
I actually have a question for you that it just popped in my head. Like with the current campaign going on in Ukraine and what seems to be part of the tactics of Ukraine is to choke off the resupply chain routes to the Russian troops. Is that something that AMCL is taking notes of, or any discussions or lessons learned within that organization on that current campaign and what you guys are seeing, or from what you guys can see?
Yeah, I will say that the Marines and I think the Joint Force in general is definitely, I mean, the Ukraine situation is just a watershed of information on the future of warfare, and not just for the logistics community, but yeah, I'll say specifics. And last year we had Colonel Garreau come and speak directly about the Ukraine logistics situation and how the Ukrainians and NATO and so forth. And obviously NATO is not fighting, but we are obviously helping them. And then kind of what was going wrong on the Russian side. And I think the Russians are probably doing some things, okay, you know, they're still in it. But and then we've got some things happening on the maritime side as well. We've got there was the attack with the unmanned surface vessels. They're not really a logistics competitor to that, but the Marine Corps certainly looking at unmanned logistics, autonomous logistics, and so definitely keep a look at how the Ukrainians are doing that. I think the Ukrainians are doing a lot of things like autonomous resupply, but how are we? And I think the Marine Corps logistics community is looking at, and not just the Marine Corps, but the joint logistics community is looking at, wow, if you've got these big fixed locations, I mean, there's every other week you're seeing like a supply depot get blown up and go high order, or you see the bridges getting taken out, trains getting taken out. And so it's like, how do we, and actually last year's theme was sustaining the small, the agile, the many in a contested world. So if the Russians can do that, there's other competitors that are out there like China and so forth that are, and they're watching as well. And so they are very capable as well. They've got their expedition logistics, they've got their artificial intelligence, they're building their ships and so forth. So it's a battleground out there. There's also and that is obviously the Ukraine conflict is a hot conflict, but there is a gray zone or going on, or a soft, you know, it's being called Cold War or the Phase Zero and so forth. So there's a combative sort left war without gun smoke going on, and I think logisticians are sort of key players in that. We look at Surface Deployment Distribution Command or U.S. Transportation Command, or even Marine logisticians, the Navy logisticians that are out there right now. These significant networks of folks who around the globe, we have awareness around the globe. So how are we leveraging those organizations to be involved? You know, not everything is just here in the United States, but I think, you know, to back to your point, you know, how are we adjusting? What lessons are we taking away from this? I think we'd love to talk about that topic, and it is great. I think if you read Force Design 2030 and some of the INL or Installation Logistics and Marine Corps Doctrinal Pub 4, they address that. They're specifically saying, hey, we're all watching what's going on, and we know we need to adjust, and so that is happening in fits and spurts, but it's great. And so what we want to do is we want to see that go from aspirational to operational. We want to see those. Hey, we all know we need to change. We're saying we need to change. Let's make those changes. And our hope with this symposium is that gives a venue where folks can, you know, wrestle with these things and give some more words out for folks to come up with good ideas.
So we have another question. Are there opportunities to demonstrate new logistics technologies and vessels at the event?
It's not an event like next week, the Army is going to be having what's called an MSSPIX at Fort Stewart, where you actually go out in the water and do things. We won't have a facility like that where we're doing actual testing. Now, that being said, we did have some organizations that brought, if you could do something on a computer, or you can do a small scale sort of representation at your booth. That's great. Logisticians, like I said, we're talking about data and digitalization. I think there's plenty of opportunities to do that. We won't have a place to, test a microgrid or something like that. I mean, maybe some point in the future that'd be great because we have the whole, we have our whole event run off of some sort of microgrid, and we could have it in Marine Corps tents or something like that. But we really like to see. We'll just put it right out there in the quad. Are you okay with that, Dr. Boyce? We could set up a Marine Corps facility out there in the middle of the quad. But yeah, nothing where
Nothing bigger than the red box.
Yeah, nothing bigger than
the red box.
Yeah. It's gonna be, we're gonna be in a new venue from where we were last year, but it's not and I will say that this is having my current job, I do business development, so we got a lot of different trade shows, which are awesome. The Army's AUSA, the Modern Day Marine, and these are fantastic events. There's many floors, and it probably takes you the entire time to go. The entire 3 days, you probably can't see everything on the floor. And those are wonderful. You got the big trucks and so forth, and there's other great things going on, and I love those events. Ours is I would say more intimate and very much more laser focused on the logisticians logistics community. So we are going to have a bit bigger of a vendor hall, but our vendors said they really enjoyed it last year because they got to speak with the right people. They got to speak with the program managers, the program officers. They got to speak with Marine logisticians. And a lot of times these bigger venues, you get a whole bunch of different folks, which is awesome. It's just are a little more focused on the logistics combat element and logisticians. So,
did you change anything from last year to this year that people may not be aware of that will be different compared to if they attended last year? What they can expect this year that might be something new or different?
Yeah, I think I mentioned we're going to do an industry mixer sort of event. I know we did have great vendor feedback, and they said, hey, we'd like to have more vendor participation. We said, hey, we would love to have more vendor participation. So with our panels, the way our panels would like is to have, and we welcome industry keynotes as well. I think that'd be great. We're actually also reaching out to some congressional. So I haven't posted those yet because we haven't got those confirmed, but we'd love to get some to bring in, because there's a whole spectrum of folks. So if we get some of those types of folks in as keynotes or as panelists, that'll change the dynamic. We are going to have a matchmaking event, which I've been to a couple of these and a couple other conferences. AFWorks, which is the Air Force's Innovation Hub, they had a matchmaking event. So we're looking to have something like that where we get some one-on-ones between industry and hopefully get your offices out there from the Naval Service Warfare Centers and from places like Marine Corps System Command. So it would be great to have those. But you won't see like a SAM.gov. For those that are business developers out there, you're not going to see a SAM.gov, Marine Association of Marine Corps Logisticians industry day. But we will have an event like that. And then there's going to be the mixing where folks just go around the booths and so forth. The other thing that we've got is we're going to be looking at logistics wargaming. We're in the process, so we're going to have a logistics wargaming panel, which will talk about how logisticians can do wargaming and think through, how am I going to sustain these forces that are on the move, and we're trying to keep a low comm profile and so forth. How are we going to do that? So we're going to talk through that wargaming, and so that panel will look at that, and then what we're looking to do is have kind of a follow-on breakout group that will continue that discussion for those that are interested in learning more about that, how AI can help that, how live virtual constructive technologies can help with wargaming and so forth. So we're looking forward to that. And then lastly, we had several breakout panels, but we had kind of smaller attendance. We're going to have much greater attendance this year because we're going to have the more admin out, which will give more of the top coverage to the Marines can come. So we're excited about that. So, yeah, so we're not gonna have quite as many breakouts because I think that just pulled people away. So we will have some breakout opportunities where we're running different events kind of concurrent with the main stage events. But we're kind of necking that down, so, yeah.
All right. Do I have any other questions?
Well, this is Nathan Bush. I just wanted to make something explicit that that Greg emphasized in, I think, his answer to the 2 questions ago. And that is for people wanting to demonstrate their technologies and capabilities, highlight aspects of their organizations or their companies. We are going to have a fairly extensive exhibit hall for exhibitors to be able to show those technologies. So if you're interested in those kinds of opportunities, having a booth in the exhibit hall, be sure to reach out to us.
Oh, perfect. That's great. So some of our upcoming events for future tech talks, we'll be having another one, the next one, June 14, and we'll be talking about MITRE naval programs. This is a business that is getting government funding to help small businesses get verified and validated so that they can do business with the government. So it's good if you're in the process of trying to do business with the government and you want to get more done or learn more about that verification process, please join us for that one. On June 28, we'll have CyberBytes Foundation. If you're not familiar with who CyberBytes is, definitely come to this one. They'll be doing 2, one on June 28 and one on August 30. They're way more than what you see on their website. Their website's a little light, but what they're actually doing is very, very deep. So it'd be worth taking your time to learn more about them and what they do. And then the next one on July 12th will be ODU Maritime Initiatives, learning more about what ODU is doing in this area and where you might be able to engage with them. And then August 30th, CyberBytes, talking about all their labs and innovation projects. If you complete the short survey here, then you'll get an email with the slides from today's presentation. We have a question, a movable giant food factory? CyberBytes, nope. The other bites, BY. All right, so you have somebody here, Flying Ship Tech is interested in a booth at your event to showcase their logistics vessels. So did we put Dr. Bush's contact information in on one of the slides or in chat?
Or really, they just need to register, right?
Yeah, if you're interested in, we can send an email to, I can put mine in there. My email is events, EVENTS at Marine Corps Logistics Organization.org.
Marine Corps Logistics at?
The actual.
No,
and you-
it's org that, I know, right?
Yeah, we'll type it in there and then we can get you a copy of the prospectus and so forth and put you in touch with our event power team. They're the ones that work with our vendors and so forth, but we'd be glad to talk with you as well. That's my email there, my Marine Corps Logistics email. So we'd be glad to get you in touch with our event power team because we will have different booth sizes. So if you do have a demonstrator or something kind of small scale, that you'd like to put out there, that would work. So, movable giant food factory. Probably have to check on the dimensions. We are going to be.
No, he was saying.
Okay.
CyberBytes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All right. So if you follow us on LinkedIn or follow us on Eventbrite, you can stay up to date with the tech talks that we're doing. We're having a good cadence now going into June. We'll have 2. And we have at least 1 in July, 1 in August. So we've got some great talks coming up. It's a great way to learn about what's happening in the ecosystem. We also have the opportunity to schedule meetings directly with the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge. So if you go to any one of our social media pages on LinkedIn or Instagram, you'll see a post where we actually talk about how you can schedule a meeting with the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge. We host those meetings on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month. You get 30 minutes directly with the Tech Bridge team. And we are also inviting all the other Tech Bridge directors. So it's no longer just one Tech Bridge you're talking to. It's any other of the Tech Bridges that are interested in the technology that you're presenting. They have been invited to join as well. So go ahead if you want to talk to the Tech Bridge about ways that they can help you get access into other parts of the Navy or the DoD and schedule your meeting. Any other questions at all? Okay, I think that's a wrap.
Good.
Yeah,
Great. Look forward to seeing you all there.
Thank you all for
Thanks,
your
all.
time.
Thank you, everyone.